when real life happens.
Yeah.
Golden rules, stay true,
Uh-huh.
stay focused.
All right. Cut it, man. Listen, welcome back to the Golden Rule Podcast. I am your host, Ryan Hayes, man. Welcome back, man. This is episode 6 of the show. We do appreciate you guys coming out. We appreciate the attendance. We appreciate you just sticking with me through this, through this trying time, man, because that's exactly what we doing. My name is Ryan and I'm trying. But nah, man, we're gonna get right into the latest, man, of what we've been talking about. Today we're gonna get into the NFL preseason right away, man. The NFL preseason has been pretty good. I mean, this is competition at its finest. We're not seeing a whole lot of the starters playing, but we are seeing some starters get their feet wet and getting that practice. We call them reps. When you're a part of the game, we call them reps. They're not just practice, they're repping. So we trying to get reps in. We trying to, be consistent. So that way when the regular season start, we going full speed ahead. Now, there are some teams who are not playing their starters, but we'll get into that another time. Right now, Bryce Young in Carolina, man. Listen, Carolina Panthers, man. Here we go, man. It seems like this is gonna be the theme of this year, man. I don't know. I'm hoping that I can find some like kind of joy in the Carolina Panthers season, but Bryce Young looks average at best, man. The offensive line, I mean, I can't put it all on Bryce because I mean he's playing behind the Carolina Panthers offensive line, and the offensive line that we've been having for a better part of a decade have been all mediocre at best. I mean, it's sack frenzy over there. Our defense is great, but this sack frenzy over there, man. So I'm hoping that Bryce can at least stay healthy at this point, man. He's a small stature guy. He's not as big as CJ Stroud, who I wish we would have drafted. I was about to say recruited, but I wish we would have drafted him from Ohio State. He's a smaller guy, man. So I'm hoping he stays healthy, man. He's a smiley type of guy, man. He's smiling about everything. Every time he throws it, if he throws an interception, if he throws a bad pass, if he gets sacked, he getting up smiling. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe his attitude is shaping his altitude. Maybe he's thinking in terms of, hey, whenever I get up and I'm putting that smile on my face, it's not showing that I'm being defeated, man. So that could be the mindset that he's going with. Hopefully this kid can, turn on the Jets when the season starts, man. But I am praying for him because that offensive line is nothing to play with, man. Listen. So moving right along, CJ Stroud in Houston, Texas, the number 2 overall pick, man, looked very good this weekend. I mean, he did in first drive. His first drive he played, he ended it with an interception. He was throwing some dimes in there too, though, man. I feel like his receivers got to catch the ball. Certain passes that would drop wasn't good, but his second drive he went 5 for 6 for 52 yards, and that drive ended in a field goal. So not the best results, but I mean it's points on the board, man. In offense, all we look to do is put points on the board. If it's a three, if it's a three, or if it's 6 or 7, then whatever it is, we trying to put points on the board. So he did do that. Tua Tagovailoa was back this weekend, man. Let's give him a hand clap, man. Listen, Tua was back. We all know the situation with Tua. He had some concussion issues last season for at least, I would say he had 2 consecutive concussion back to back, and they would look very dangerous, man. Those can be career ending. So we're just happy to see Tua back on the field, man. He did look pretty decent. His first drive also ended in an interception, although he bounced back and had a 5 for 6 drive, 5 for 6 on pass and only missed one, 61 yards. The offense looked like it was gelling, man. It looked pretty good, man. Miami's gonna be something to be reckoned with. We do know they got Jalen Waddle and they got Tyreek Hill. So it's not gonna be a joke out there in Miami as well, man. So the Dolphins are something to look out for. Um, we got teams like the Bengals who look dangerous, of course. The Jets look very dangerous. I said that a couple shows ago. The Jets look dangerous. They are very for real, man. They did add star running back from the Minnesota Vikings, Dalvin Cook, to their roster, man. So be on the lookout for that. They got running game. They got Garrett Wilson in the gang at wide receiver. They got Sauce Gardner in the gang at cornerback. They got Big Quentin Williams up front, man. These guys are not going to be anything to play with, man. So the Jets, I'm keeping my close eyes on those guys, man. Pittsburgh looks good. I mean, I do respect Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin's whole I guess the way he coaches, man, everything about he hasn't had a losing season in what 14 years of coaching, man. He's been a great, outstanding coach. He gets the team prepared; they're always ready to go. I mean, he's one of them coaches that you just stand to go to war with, stand on the line, toe to toe with him, and go to war with this guy, man, because he's getting the people ready, and I respect him for that. So, man, shout out to the Pittsburgh Steelers as well. Dallas Cowboys look pretty decent, but at the same time, we can't really judge them because they're not having starters play. I'm not sure why Dak Prescott has yet to touch the field, as well as CD Lamb. I haven't seen him on the field either. I mean, we got to get these stars, we got to get these players on the field so we can get a good look at what they are because there's only one preseason week remaining, man. There's only 1 week remaining. And normally, that third week of preseason, when there was four, that third week, the one before the last, normally is the one that where all the guys play for at least a half of football. So not seeing the starters from Dallas Cowboys this weekend was kind of strange. But hey, I mean, who knows? Maybe they know what they're doing. I don't feel like anybody on that team has the reputation to be like, hey, well, I'm an all-star player and I ain't got to play in the pre. No, these guys, they fail every year, man. So I feel like they need to get up on the line and do what they need to do, man. Get out there and get some reps, man. We call it reps in football, man. Get some practice then. If you want to just look at it like that, man, get some straight live action practice, man. Because I mean, don't wait until week 1 of the regular season and then come out there and try to get your reps in. Next thing you know, you pulling hamstrings and everything because you ain't prepared. But we don't know. We're gonna keep our eyes on that, stay focused on that. Tonight's game will be the Ravens versus the Washington team, the Washington Commanders or the team in Washington, whatever they want to call themselves. They play tonight, so we'll keep our eyes on that. Ravens do have a streak that they going, they got, like I said, they won like 24 straight preseason games. So I'm looking at that just to be I'm trying to be a little bit, focused on if they really doing this or they, is teams letting down because it's the preseason. I want to see what's going on. I'm keeping my eyes on that. We can move right along, man. Basically, in the NBA, so Philadelphia, breaking news this morning, Philadelphia 76ers. We spoke about the James Harden and Daryl Morey situation a couple shows ago. Well, the NBA has come out with the Philadelphia 76ers this morning have come out and said that they fully intend on keeping James Harden throughout the season. So all of that riffraff with him and Daryl Morey or James and Daryl Morey, all of that is like, hey, y'all gonna have to figure it out because we ain't trading him. We can't get a trade solid enough to get rid of him. So we keeping him this season. It looked like it might be a situation where James Harden starts to starts creating problems, or maybe he come back fat. There was one before one of those trades. He came back to Houston and he was like big as a bus, man. As soon as they traded him, he lost weight. They traded him to the Brooklyn Nets and he lost weight instantly. So who knows? Who knows with James Harden? We'll keep our eyes on that, man. We can go into Anthony Davis with the Lakers in the NBA. I mean, he did just recently sign a 3-year contract extension, I believe. I'll have to check with the numbers on that. He recently signed that contract extension, and just the other day, Stan Van Gundy, who also coached Hall of Fame, should be Hall of Fame player Dwight Howard. He coached Dwight Howard, and he said there's no way that Anthony Davis should have made the top 75 team over a Dwight Howard. And I'm gonna be honest. I personally agree with him. I believe Dwight Howard has had a far better career in his career than Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis has only won a championship since he came to the Lakers. Outside of that, I mean, he hasn't won any. I don't know about defensive player of the years. Dwight Howard is one of the only guys who won defensive player of the year 3 times in his career. He's been an MVP candidate. Dwight Howard in his prime when he was with Edu Turkoglu in Orlando and Rashad Lewis in the gang and Jameer Nelson, man, that was a squad. And Dwight Howard was the center focus of that. So I personally agree with Stan Van Gundy. Like, there's no way Anthony Davis should be in the top 75 and Dwight Howard is not in the top 75. So that was a great point. I did want to mention that on the show. I mean, hey, when you're right, man. And I just had to agree with him on that. Moving right along now, the FIBA U.S. Olympic men's basketball team that we were speaking about a few shows ago, they just recently beat Spain, I believe it was. No, Germany. I'm sorry, it was Germany. On a game where it just looked it really good, man. I told you guys about Anthony Edwards. I told you what Steve Kerr was saying about this kid. This kid has great potential, and he's, it's looking like he looking like the guy. He looking like the leader of the team, even though they have guys the likes of Brandon Ingram on the team and Jaren Jackson Jr. And they got veteran players like Miles Bridges, and they got people, not Miles Bridges, I'm sorry. Um, God, what's my man name? It's Bridges though, from the Brooklyn Nets, Bridges. But they got players on there that's really capable of being stars, man. But Anthony Edwards seems to be taking the throne, and he's taking he got the helm in his hands, man. He's basically leading the pack, man. And like I said, I told you guys, keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on that. It was in Germany, or the game was versus Germany. Anthony Edwards dropped 34 points on 11 for 20 field goals. He had huge back-to-back threes late in the game. The team won 99 to 91. There was other contributing players like Jaren Jackson Jr. did have 7 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 blocks, which is pretty impressive. Tyrese Halliburton had 16 points, 3 for 4 from the three, which is pretty good. Like I said, he had a breakout season last year for Indiana. My boy Austin Reeves for the Lakers had 16 points. So, hey, let's give Team USA a hand clap, man, because they've been doing their thing, man, and I appreciate the fact that, you know, they will be representing us. Hopefully they can get it done over there, man. Like I said, I do think they're kind of small, though. So let's move on to the latest in boxing. Now, the boxing news is crazy. Basically, what's going on in boxing has been, we know the Charlo and Canelo thing is coming up, right? So that's going to be great. Big fight, September 30th. Don't forget, September 30th, that fight goes on. Charlo versus Canelo. They'll be fighting for undisputed at 168. Charlo is the one making the jump up to Canelo's realm. So it's going to be pretty nice to see how that works. I've been hearing lately that Charlo is really the bigger guy. No matter what they say, I know Canelo normally fights at this weight, but they're saying Charlo is really bigger than him when you look at them side by side. Recently, Bud Crawford, everybody, he's been on basically a media tour, and he's been at every station. When he was recently on Joe Rogan's podcast, if I'm not mistaken, he was asked about, what will be next for him, what's going on next, what is he going to do. He came out and said, hey, he doesn't mind. This is the first time that he said this. Now, he's already mentioned moving up to 154, but this is the first time he came out and said, hey, he wants to fight between the winner of this 168 battle, meaning like he's willing to jump up 3 weight classes just to get to this fight, to fight Canelo, the winner of Canelo and Charlo. That's the latest news on that. So I'm not sure. I mean, Bud is a great guy. I mean, he's a great fighter, and the weight is really, I feel like when you look at it in terms of 5 pounds here or 6 or 7 pounds here, they don't seem like a lot of weight. But I mean, hey, if anybody but I believe can do it, is Bud, man. And I think he's just going for that undisputed in 3 different weight classes. He's trying to solidify, I'm sorry, his legacy. Once he solidifies that legacy, he may as well retire, man. I'm not sure if he will, but it seemed like if he gets that undisputed, if he gets that title shot, if he's able to, whoever, if it's Canelo or Charlo at 168, if he's able to get that chance and fight that fighter at 168, I do think if he were to win, he will retire, man. So I don't know. I'm gonna keep my eyes on that, man. Also in the boxing news, Shakur Stevenson cannot find a fight. I'm not understanding why. I mean, they say Devin Haney was ducking Shakur. I'm hearing like, Tank doesn't want any part of Shakur. Floyd Mayweather being his manager doesn't want any part of Shakur Stevenson. We're trying to look for it because Shakur's under the Bud realm, and I want to see what's next up coming from that branch. Is Bud's the tree. I want to see what branches off from that. You know what I mean? So I'm really interested in seeing what happens with Shakur Stevenson, man. I'm gonna keep my eyes on that as well. He can't get a fight. It looks like Kambosos and Lomachenko, both of those guys are possibly fighting each other next. So all of a sudden, he can't get a fight from Devin Haney, from Kambosos, from Lomachenko, or Tank Davis. So we're gonna see, man. It's been reported that Floyd actually wants Tank to fight Teofimo Lopez in his next fight, and I'm looking at Floyd like, man, come on, bro. This is see. This is the typical Floyd Mayweather, which he's a smart businessman. I won't tell a man how to do business because he's a smart businessman. But he is one of those guys who picks and chooses and goes around and he wants to pick who he wants to pick to fight. He's not really looking to like fight the latest and the great. He's not looking to fight a true contender. He's looking to fight somebody with a belt and just take that little easy belt and keep on to that and then pan pick all of his fighters instead of fighting number one contenders. Now, Teofimo Lopez, prior to his last fight, just to clarify, he had already announced retirement. So this guy's basically done boxing. He just like Manny Pacquiao and Floyd. I mean, we can just, let's call it spade a spade, man. This and you a reason why I'm mentioning this because Tank Davis is under Floyd Mayweather's management. So Floyd is advising this guy. And this is the advice he gives him. Floyd was advising Earl Spence at one point in time during that 5-year stretch where Bud couldn't get that fight. So this is the way he thinks. He's like protect the zero, fight some fighters that you can beat, and then move on. Teofimo Lopez announced retirement prior to his last fight, ended up winning the fight, I believe, on decision, and then turns around. Now Floyd wants his fighter, which is a young Tank Davis. He wants him to fight Teofimo Lopez, embracing retirement and then take his belt. So I'm like, hey, it is what it is, man. I mean, it just looks like Floyd is looking to get the easiest fight and to get in the biggest purse, man. So hey, it is what it is, man. Do your thing, Floyd. I'm not mad at you, man. So moving right along, we did have the latest on the Olympics. I did see some Olympic standout things, man. In the Olympics, Sha'Carri Richardson, who we all know was ousted, I would say last year. She was ousted during the Olympics where she drug tested for positive for marijuana, and then the world kind of just went against her, said all kind of things about her. I mean, both on all sides. I mean, I'm seeing, all people who are focused on the Olympics had something to say about that. It was the talk of town. Sha'Carri Richardson, great fighter. I mean, I said great fighter. I'm sorry, great runner, track runner, and she tested positive, so she didn't qualify to go on to the Olympics and compete. So she had to go through a rebuilding process, and it was like a minor setback for a major comeback. She's been on a tear. She's been winning these races to get to this level to compete in the Olympics. Just yesterday, she won a nice race, and I think she finished first in her heat yesterday. I think she also races again today, if I'm not mistaken. But I mean, she's been on a tear, man, and I just got to give Sha'Carri Richardson her flowers, man, because she did go through a lot, man. Sha'Carri, you went through a lot, and we're glad that you made it back to where you wanted to make it back to. And I'm gonna let you guys hear a little bit of what she had to say after her race yesterday, because I think it speaks volumes to like just staying focused on the mission and not having to be concerned about what someone else is saying about you. So let me let you hear the.
What about the way that you seem to conserve some energy? You ran 10 flat and you can run much faster than that. Was that important here in this first round, not to give out too much?
Definitely this first round, more so just execution, focusing in, having that energy and performance tomorrow for semis and finals, and just putting it all together, taking it round by round, event by event.
All right, the world has been waiting to see what you'll do on this stage. What are your expectations of yourself?
The world, I'm not worried about the world anymore. I've seen the world be my friend. I've seen the world turn on me. But at the end of the day, I've always been with me. God has always been with me. So being on this scale now, it's my time. It's always been my time, but now it's my time to actually do it for myself. And the people that felt like me, the people that look like me, and the people that know their truth about themselves as well, I represent those people.
Thanks for stopping, Sha'Carri.
Thank you.
All right, Sha'Carri Richardson, man. Hey, give her a hand clap again, man, because that's bold. That's bold to come out and basically know that there's people against you. You got all kind of obstacles, and somehow or another you fight through. And now you're looking at, she beat out Jackson from Jamaica, man. I'm not sure which lady it is. Don't give me the line up here, but it was not yesterday, but like a month or so ago, she beat out her to compete for this. So I mean, that was the fastest woman in the world. I believe Jackson was the fastest woman considered in the world. So hey, it's looking it's looking like Sha'Carri's on the way back, man. She's breaking, she coming back, and that's how I like to see it. Also in the Olympics, man, I mean, I got to give a shout out to Ryan Krauser. I hope I didn't mess your name up too much, man. Ryan Krauser, man. Ryan Krauser, if you guys don't know it, he broke a world record in a shot put. His world record is 23.56. I mean, he didn't break this yesterday. He holds that record. But yesterday he won the title for the shot put at throwing a 23.51. What's even more so amazing about this throw is he did it with 2 blood clots in his right leg. I mean, lower right leg. So the guy's battling blood clot issues and still went out there and put on a hell of a performance. Throwing 23.51 is crazy within itself. He holds the record at 23.56. So that's just to give you context of how major that throw was. That was just a hair off, literally a hair off of what his real record is. So give it up for him one more time, man. Ryan, not to mention, he got a pretty cool name, man. Ryan, I like that name. But yeah, man. Hey, moving right along, guys. We're gonna go ahead and finish today's show off with the golden rule of the day, man. Golden rule of the day would be, I apologize. The golden rule of the day would be raise questions and question everything. I mean, raising questions. What I mean by that is like always have a question for everything, no matter what it is. I don't care if you trust these people, you love these people, whoever it may be, just question everything that don't make sense to you. No matter what it is, raise the question, man. This could be in your relationship at home, or your marriage, your girlfriend, boyfriend, however you do, just raise questions. I'm not saying nag anybody about anything, but just whatever's not gain understanding. Raising questions is another way of saying gain understanding, because you're gaining understanding of what you don't know. This could be at work. Raise questions around things that you're not understanding. Raise questions about the way things are working, the way things go on. Raise questions about your pay. Raise questions to your supervisor, because what happens is people that raise questions, a lot of people are intimidated by people who raise questions. They're intimidated by intelligence. A lot of people want to be superior instead of inferior. A lot of people want to think they're smarter than somebody else. So when you start raising a certain type of questions, you start ruffling feathers and you start gaining answers and respect, perspective, and all of these things just by raising questions. Asking questions shouldn't be an issue, but if people make it an issue, then you understand why those questions might be, making things a little bit uncomfortable, because you're gaining understanding. And that's what it's all about, man. Gain understanding. The golden rule of the day will be raise questions, man. Question everything. And that's just what I'll leave you guys with, man. Anything you don't understand, raise questions, man. Ask a question, gain understanding, man. I love you guys and I appreciate you coming out, and we'll see you on the next episode.
When real life happens, y'all. We got a golden rule. Stay true, stay focused on what's important. Oh, you can discover the gold in you. Find your gold.
Look, breaking news. Life is golden when you